And because there is a lack of understanding and knowledge there, because most of you haven't got a clue what's going to happen to you after you die. Some people who've done good meditation can know from personal experience. Some people may have had out-of-the-body experiences, can know, because you know you've died temporarily. But most of you, you don't know what's going to happen to you after you die. And many, many religions, many, many people, they exploit that lack of knowledge. And in its place, they put superstition. And as they, to try and force that superstition on you, there's all sorts of fears involved. And it's because of that lack of knowledge, and sometimes trying to control people through fear, that we get these terrible superstitions. What happens to you after you die? Sometimes people say you can go up to heaven or you can go down to hell. When you start to point that out, people get a bit concerned. I'm going to go to heaven or I'm going to go to hell. And you start thinking to yourself, which one do I deserve to go to? And because of the guilt trips of many people in the West, you already think that there's a good probability I might go down to hell. Are you really pure enough to go up to heaven? Anyone here? Well, what's going to happen to you then? And people say, one of the problems is superstitious people normally die very terrible deaths. And I've been talking to many, many doctors and nurses over the years. And I'm not saying this just to make people Buddhists, but I think this is anecdotal evidence that Buddhists die more peacefully than many other people. I think Buddhists and maybe atheists, secularists, they die quite peacefully. The ones who die in terror are those who believe superstitiously in an eternal heaven or an eternal hell. A lot of the time because there's always a few bad things they've done. And those few bad things which they focus on think that I don't deserve to go to heaven. So there's only one place I'm going to go to. There's enough doubt there. For those of you who've done examinations or gone to interviews for new jobs, do you feel nervous? This is the mother of all interviews when you die. It's the biggest exam you'll ever take if you follow that superstitious idea. This is not just for a job, just for a few weeks or for a few years. According to some religions, this is for eternity. Eternal happiness or eternal hellfire. Now that's pretty scary. And that will scare the pants or the skirts or whatever, or the sarongs, that's what we wear, of anybody if you really believe that. And that's why that people actually are afraid of death, mostly. Now what would happen if we can somehow break that superstition down? If we can break that superstition down, at least we'll have some confidence of what's going to happen. First of all, does that really make sense to you? That because of what you've done, you've only got two choices. Eternal pleasure and happiness, or eternal sort of pain and torment. Even when I first read that as a kid, I thought that is unjust, unfair. It can't be that way. There is no one who deserves sort of eternal hell. And how many people deserve eternal happiness as well? You're not good enough for eternal happiness. And anyway, when you think about eternal happiness, don't be superstitious. How can that happen? What one does is one uses one's faculties of understanding, reason, wisdom in this life to understand, what is happiness anyway? What is unhappiness?